Hello YouTube, Al here, and this week I want to talk about my vintage V6. So, I got this guitar for, well, I paid 97 quid for it, or 95 quid or whatever to start with. Advertised as mint condition. It was not mint condition. Oh boy, was it not. So, let me see. The nut was overcut. You could probably still see it's a little bit V-shaped on this side. So someone sort of gone at it with a file, but at a bit of a bad angle. That's now been corrected, so the nut sits right. There was still is, a big crack in the neck pocket, if I can even get that to show on camera. Don't think so, the camera glare won't. But rest assured, I'll insert a picture, say, now. So you can see it has quite a big crack. I put a bit of glue on there to sort of stabilise it, just try and ladle a little bit in with a bit of paper. There was a lot of damage to the neck pocket. I didn't know about that. Anyway, this guitar played like utter poo when I got it. So I took it to, well, I didn't take it to, I sent it to Sam at Reloved Guitars, and he has healed it. So, someone had routed this neck pocket. For some reason they damaged it with like a file or a chisel or something, and it was very roughly, horribly done, and just, I don't know why they've done that. So Sam filled it with resin and put a spare neck heel in and clamped it up, and that sort of has made it level again. So the neck angle is now correct. He changed recut the nut to make sure that's properly cut, so the strings won't stick and they're not too low or anything. Well, you can't recut them if they're too low, that's it, but you know what I mean. It's cut properly now. Changed the string tree to a Tusk one because the metal one sort of pinged a bit and it wasn't the best. He upgraded the electronics to CTS stuff, which I provided because I wanted a big boy switch and big boy electronics just to have them. The pickups are the same. They're Wilkinson WSVNs, I think they are. I mean, I've taken the back plate off so you can see how I believe this is the finish aging over time. It might be that it's not aged and it's just this is the way they do it in the factory because it's part of their reissued series, so I don't know if that's aging or what that is. But anyway, that I've taken that off and you can see the aging, which I quite like. The scratch plate is white. That's going a little bit yellow. That again probably won't quite come out on camera, but rest assured that it does. I swapped the knobs out for some very, very slightly yellowy looking ones that I found in a parts bin, and it plays fantastic. I slightly raised the action on these strings because I found that the string was sort of slipping from under my fingers, so I very slightly raised the action, but apart from that I'm very happy with it. I'll start at the neck and go to the bridge. The neck and middle. So, they're quite nice, spanky Wilkinson stock pickups. They're very chimey, glassy, kind of modern-y, trebly pickups. Like if you listen to my white Encore Strat, yeah, this one's kind of a lot more full, round, warm, as in less trebly and spiky. These pickups, or well, this guitar is a lot more trebly and spiky feeling. I suspect that might have something to do with the block, because you can't see it's got a cover on, but this has got a small block on it. It's got a big Wilkinson block, and the bridge definitely makes a difference. Yeah. If you follow Mick Taylor's Strat blogs on That Pedal Show, you will see that him swapping out the saddles and the block, all that nonsense on his Sonic Blue Strat, funnily enough, it changes the sound, changes the EQ curve, and I think this sounds closer to Mick's Strat when it had the Callahan on it, which is kind of a new modern-y sort of style bridge, as opposed to an old vintage one. So I think even acoustically, it's very attacky. It still has an Alnico. Let me pop a bit of drive on, so let's just do the classic thing, a bit tube scrimmer. So it still has the Alnico warmth. It's not like ceramic pickups where they can be quite brittle in the top end, quite difficult to tame. I've still got the bridge pickup wired to the tone control here. Christ, it really is white. It's really whiting out on this camera. Christ. Let me move the curtain there. I'm using daylight because it gets you a more natural colour on the camera. Maybe it gets a bit better, isn't it? So the bridge pickup here is wired to the lower tone here, hence. So I can roll off a little bit that top end, and even just having it in the circuit rolls off a little bit at the high end, and makes it a bit less spiky. Yeah, it's still sort of settling a bit, I think. So, bridge. Roll it down to about 8. 10. Bad 8. Gotta be careful not to play any riffs too much because YouTube will kill me. So the pickups are Nico, it's really nice. The neck is quite a wide, flat feeling neck. It's not got a lot of girth that way, so it feels quite wide. I don't know what the string spacing is on this. Ooh, do I even have a ruler handy? I do as well. Let's have a look. The string spacing is 54 millimeters. Well, that explains a lot. So that's more Fendery string width. So normally on imports you get 52 millimeters from the high E to the low E. So the necks tend to be thinner. I would suggest that you keep it that way on those guitars, because if you have a wide string spacing on an import neck, it might well be these strings on the outside are too close to the edge and you sort of go, you're always falling off the end. Not really that way, but you know, all that crap, you don't want that. So that explains it. There you go, 54 millimeter spacing. It's got a very flat fretboard as well. There's not a lot of curvature in it. It definitely feels very playable, very modern when it's in tune. But it's very easy to bend big bends. So it's very comfortable in that respect. It's not like a vintage Strat. If you want to have something that's vintage correct, this is not for you. This is not for you. It definitely has a couple of modern appointments. Like the bridge, obviously Wilkinson bridges, don't know if you can see, the holes are staggered. They're not all in a line. So the way the string comes up through the bridge should mean the screws don't interfere with the string going over there, and it should give you a bit more room to intonate, and the string angle, the way it comes over the saddle, should be better. So apparently you should just help it to stay in tune better. I don't know about that. It makes sense. Again, I haven't really got this quite there yet. I want to put a little bit of Vaseline in the nut just to get it lubed, really, just to get it. See, nothing you can get me on. So, yeah, it's very much a modern feel to this neck. It's a nice neck. I'm not a huge fan of the headstock shape. It's very impersonal. It's not a very sexy headstock shape at all. I'm not particularly fussed by that sort of stuff. I'm really not. I don't think that vain when it comes to a guitar. Although that being said, I have got the most outlandish strap in the world to go with it now, because I really want to put a red torque guard on this. Let's make it the most obscene, psychedelic looking thing you can. I mean, it's still, I like to keep things looking reasonably in keeping somehow. Like, it could be a weird 60s guitar, or it's a, you know, someone's got a different pick guard at some point, but I like it to be something Fender could have done but didn't. I always want to do that on this. Tone down a little bit on the bridge. Board, fuzz face. Doesn't clean up amazingly on the volume, but I think I was just trying that with a fuzz face, to be honest. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Wilkinson bridge. I don't know what model this is. This is not the same as the ones I've been recently buying to put on my Strat copies, because if you can see there, that's where the little ridge ends. And on the ones I've been buying, it goes right to the end there, to the corner. So it's not, I don't think, the same model. That being said, it's a nice bridge. I think this is one of the older ones. Sam reckons it might be, because the logo's a bit blobby compared to the newer ones. It's a polyurethane finish. Quite a thick looking finish. I suppose I could rub it down the back of the neck at some point if I wanted. Wilkinson tuners. These are all ones that are bolted on one sort of strip of metal, which is a bit weird. I wasn't expecting that, because it's not sort of in keeping with 60s Strat spec. And that's sort of the vibe they're going for, obviously. If I'm going to get really, oh, it's not vintage, it's a slab you can see there's a big slab of rosewood, slab board. It's not the thin veneer, so it's more of a 59 Strat thing than a post 62 Fender. Nice thin vintage frets. They're not incredibly small, but they're not jumbos, but they're not as small as the ones that are on my Encore, which are the thin vintage ones that Sam put in, and they are wonderful. They're so comfortable, and they're not the same as, they're not as thin as the Squier Bullet frets. But that being said, they're smaller than the jumbo ones, and they really are, I'm getting hooked on everything, Christ. They really are really quite comfortable. So, that's it really. There's a nice compression when you play, when you dig in, even clean, boost off, all that. You can get a bit angry with it, even clean, I like that. A bit of a wrong note. Anyway, thanks for watching. Oh yeah, it's an older body. Alder, A-L-D-E-R. Alder. Wood from a tree as opposed to from a ply. And maple neck, rosewood of some variety, fretboard. That's it really, it does what it does. Annoying things. This came with 500k pots, mini pots. So the mini pots won't last an incredibly long time, and they were 500k. I swapped them out for 250k ones, CTS ones, because they let less high end through. So really have 500k pots with humbuckers. These are single coils, so I wanted to tame that harsh high end. Again, you still get a lot of chime out of this guitar, but it's not. It's sort of the very top end is sort of rounded off a bit, and it just sort of feels, everything feels a bit smoother, and that's kind of the frequency range I like this to sit in, and it fits really nicely. It's all about the neck pickup, honestly. It sounds bloody brilliant. So I set these pickups not too high off. Let me move that out of the way. Not too high off the body. You can see both sides. I tried to get them pretty much the same volume. I started with the neck. I always start with the neck pickup because that's the most fun, sound on a Strat. I got that sounding. The lower you have it, the warmer. The higher you have it, the higher output it is, but the more trebly it will be. So I got it set so I'm happiest with it, and then I try and get the middle to sound roughly the same, as much as I can, the same volume, and the same with the bridge. And then if one pickup's a bit too spiky or a bit too low, or I'm not quite happy with how one of them sounds, I'll try fiddle around, but I'll try and find a nice medium where they're all the same volume. And also that really affects the middle positions. I've done a video on that actually a hell of a long time ago, so you can go back and find that. middle, and middle pickup, and then neck and middle. So it does do the Strat quack if needed. So that's a rundown of my latest guitar. I was hoping to get this for 95 quid. It was in mint condition, was it bollocks, and flip it for 200, because that's how much you go for second hand in mint condition. But the neck crack and all that crap happened, and here we are. So I'm going to play it until the wheels fall off, and hopefully get an awful red tortoiseshell pickguard that's going to look brilliant, and it's going to be just as loud as this Strat, and it's going to be fantastic. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Al. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense. Now go on, don't be a knob, it does help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Until then, bye bye.